rescue me yet again. You put me first everywhere. You make me feel better than the mother too. You rescue me yet again. You put me first everywhere. You make me feel better than the mother too.
Pan-Africanism, peace and Pan-Africanism. This is a special late night edition of King Kong Consciousness. And because it's a late night edition, I want to have a conversation with my sisters. I want every black woman to pull up a chair. I want every black woman to pull up a chair. This is a message for the queens. This is a message for the empresses. This is a message for the goddesses. This is a message for the sisters. I've been doing a lot of life coaching lately with black women around relationships. I've been doing a lot of life coaching recently with black women centered on their relationships. A lot of sisters been calling me crying. A lot of sisters been hurting. A lot of sisters confused. A lot of sisters don't know what to do. So I want to give my sisters some relationship advice. I'm not going to keep you too long. We're going to take it to midnight because I know you got to work tomorrow. We're going to keep it to midnight. But in this hour, I need to give my sisters some advice. This is why I'm diligently trying to get the For Sisters Only book done ASAP. This is why I'm diligently trying to get the For Sisters Only book done ASAP. I've gotten a lot of feedback from the queens in the conscious community, and they told me to not go on tour until the book is done. The overwhelming amount of sisters who text me were of the opinion that the tour should wait. The For Sisters Only tour should wait until the For Sisters Only book is done. So I am going to humble myself to the queendom. And I am not going to do the For Sisters Only tour until the For Sisters Only book is done. In lieu of that, I want to give you ladies some straight talk. Some straight talk. Things that I've learned not just through observation, not just through dating, but most of all being a therapist and being a life coach. I want to come to you from that angle tonight. After you hear this message tonight, if you want some personal relationship life coaching, reach out. If you need some personal relationship life coaching, reach out. But don't schedule a relationship coaching session with me, ladies, and you don't want the hard truth, because I'm going to give you the hard truth. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Yes, I do relationship coaching. I do life coaching. Obviously, I do consultations with parents involving their children. I charge $75 per hour. $75 per hour. You should probably only need 1 hour. You might only need 1 hour, or you might need to check in with me once a month. Most of my relationship coaching clients, we normally check in once a month. Personal life coaching might need to be once a week, once every other week, once every 3 weeks, once a month. Relationship coaching about once a month. So if you desire that, you can text me 215-989-9858, 215-989-9858, 215-989-9858 if you need relationship coaching, personal life coaching, or consultation for your children. Now, let's get into this. I'm talking to my sisters. Let's get into this. Let me just go right from the start. Stop telling men when the last time you had sex. Stop doing it. Too many women are leading in new relationships by volunteering a piece of information that most men don't ask and many men don't care. And that is, when was the last time you were intimate with another man? That's your business. That's your business. Why are you volunteering it? Stop telling men, I ain't been with nobody in a year. I ain't been with nobody in 2 years. I ain't been with nobody in 3 years. How you ain't been with nobody in 3 years and you got a 1-year-old and a 2-year-old? How you ain't been with nobody in 3 years and you got a 1-year-old and a 2-year-old? Stop volunteering information about the last time you was intimate. You don't need to tell a man that. It doesn't matter. You know why it doesn't matter? Because if and when you decide to give him the cookies, if and when you decide to let him ice your Cinnabons, if and when you let him warm up your cupcakes, I promise you, once he goes in that cookie jar, he's going to be able to tell when the last time that cookie jar was open. You don't need to volunteer that. You don't need to volunteer that. You don't need to volunteer that. And if you 40 or older, my beautiful African sisters, if you 40 and older, your walls are not as strong as the 30 and under year old women's walls. So you don't need to be out here lying, telling men you ain't been with nobody in 5 years and you running around with a loosey-goosey. He's going to know if you got that loosey-goosey. And if you telling a man you ain't been with nobody in 5 years and you give him a cookie and it ain't no cookies left, them Cinnabons is stale, them cupcakes is hard, he's going to know that you were lying. Stop telling men when the last time you were intimate. Cut it out. He's going to be able to tell. Okay? If it ain't no cookies left, you ain't been celibate for no 3 years. If them cupcakes ain't fresh, he gonna know that you was out there throwing cookies away. Okay? The loosey-goosey. The loosey-goosey. If you got a loosey-goosey, stop telling men you've been celibate for a couple years. Because there's one of the greatest turnoffs is for a woman to act like she ain't been with nobody in a long time. One of the greatest turnoffs is for a woman to act like she ain't been with nobody for a long time. And when that man goes to be intimate with you, you got the loosey-goosey. So I'm going to move on from that. All my loosey-goosey queens, I wish you well in the dating world. You're not going to get too far. All my loosey-goosey queens, I wish you well in the dating world. So let's move on and let's refocus. Next point. Stop turning your boyfriend, your fiance, your husband into your personal therapist. He didn't sign up for that shit. Let me say it again. Stop turning your boyfriend, your fiance, your husband into your personal life coach. He did not sign up to be your life coach. And one of the quickest ways to burn a brother out, one of the quickest ways to get dropped and left is to try to turn your man into your therapist. Check it out. Being your man is hard enough. Being your man is hard enough. And you mean to tell me he already has a full-time job in being your husband? He already has a full-time job in being your fiance. He already has a full-time job in being your husband. And on top of him already having a full-time job, you want to give him another full-time job. Be my therapist. It is not your man's job to heal your childhood wounds. It is not your man's job to heal the relationship issues you have with your mother or your father. It is not your man's job to heal your low self-esteem or your insecurity complex. If you need help, if you need healing, if you need therapy, if you need counseling, find a therapist. The website for the Association of Black Psychologists is abpsi.org. I said the website for the Association of Black Psychologists is abpsi.org. Black social workers got a website. Black counselors got a website. Black psychiatrists got a website. If you need professional help, go get professional help. But if you try to turn your man into your psychiatrist, you're going to burn his ass out and he's going to leave you, or he's going to bump you down to number 2 and he's going to get a new number 1. If you try to turn your man into your therapist, you're going to burn him out and he's either going to leave you or he's going to bump you down from number 1 to number 2 and he's going to get a new number 1. Nothing wrong with expecting support. Nothing wrong with expecting encouragement. Nothing wrong with needing to have a serious personal conversation. But if he got to sit down with you for 3 hours while you cry on his shoulder every night, he's going to get burnt out. And that makes you a spiritual vampire. What is a spiritual vampire? What is a spiritual vampire? A man or a woman who gets into a relationship looking for somebody to save them from themselves. A spiritual vampire is a man or a woman with a whole bunch of issues, a whole bunch of baggage that you don't have the willpower to deal with. So rather than deal with your shit, rather than deal with your issues, you're going to drop them off on somebody else's front step and give them the responsibility of solving your problems for you. It is nobody's job to solve your personal, emotional, psychological issues but you. And I'm going to have to come back and do this for the brothers too. I'm going to have to come back and do this for the brothers too, because a big mistake that black men make, a big mistake that we kings make, a big mistake that we brothers make is we'll get in a relationship with an emotionally dysfunctional woman, and she will cling to us and she will fall in love with us too soon. And then we start thinking that she's madly in love with us. She's not in love with you, bruh. She's in love with the fact that you can distract her from her problems. That's right. And a spiritual vampire female is the perfect actor who can convince a man that she's madly in love with him when she's really just emotionally toxic and a hopeless romantic. And before you know it, she'll jump off of you, jump onto another brother, and you'll be like, I thought you loved me. Nah, bruh, she was a spiritual vampire looking for all the attention she can get, bruh. You was one stop on a long journey. Stop thinking you the last stop, black man, when you only one pit stop on a long journey. So I'm going to have to do this with the brothers too, because we got some brothers out there thinking women madly in love with you. Nah, bruh. She's emotionally needy. Stop confusing an emotionally needy woman with a woman who's in love with you. Stop confusing an emotionally needy woman with a woman who's in love with you. And it goes the same way with sisters. Stop confusing an emotionally needy man with a man who's in love with you. Stop confusing an emotionally needy man with a man who's in love with you. So again, stop turning your man into a life coach. He ain't there to be your therapist. He ain't there to be a psychiatrist. He ain't your social worker. He don't want to be a licensed professional counselor. He wants to be your partner, not your savior. He's your partner, black woman, not your savior. Stop trying to turn your man into a savior. And when he can't save you from your problems, you start accusing him of being emotionally isolated. Now, don't get me wrong. We do have wounded phalluses running around in the hood. Don't get me wrong, black queen. We do have wounded phalluses running around in the hood. But what I'm saying is, just because a man doesn't want you to suck him dry with your emotional problems doesn't mean he's emotionally isolated. It means he's emotionally intelligent. It means he's emotionally intelligent. That's what it means. And brothers, you better be careful. Sister try to turn you to a therapist early in a relationship, that might be a good sign. It's time to walk on out. You are not responsible, man or woman. You are not responsible for solving another adult's problems. You are not. Too many people are getting in relationships when they really need a relationship with a therapist. Stop looking